It took over 100,000 ideas and nearly 70 planners 4 months to dream up the new Christchurch city centre. In a series of slideshows, the broken city has been given new life and the feedback so far has been positive. But how much of what's on paper will make it to the streets, and will the ever-controversial light rail system get moving too? Joining me now is Christchurch Mayor Bob Parker. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Rachel.
I just want to clarify here the breakdown of the funding. Earthquake Minister Jerry Brownie says that Christchurch residents must decide how much they're prepared to pay to fund the plan. What does he mean by that?
Well, I think what he means is that inevitably there will be costs in a plan like this, and so what we've done is generate the round dollar sum. It's roughly $2 billion over a 10-year period. Around about 50% of that money is already essentially there. That's the money that we can get through reprioritising our capital program. Things have changed. That money is already in the plan. There's insurance money to come in, and there are normal subsidies that you would get around subjects like roading and so on. And if you look at the back of the plan, it actually shows you a breakdown over the 10 years of where that money can come from. We're saying that by taking on some increased debt at a modest level over the coming years, in about 3 years' time, actually, we don't need that straight away, it leaves a gap of about $200 million. And that's probably the area that Mr. Brownlee will be focusing on pretty closely, because that's the area that government could come in and help us in. Government have been brilliant throughout this process. I think they recognise that Christchurch is a major part of New Zealand's economy, and there's so much more that we can contribute. Canterbury's got a huge amount of upside. So this is about New Zealand Inc. as well as about Christchurch, and we need to have further discussions about who will pay for what and how it will work. But it is affordable. We've worked very, very hard to make sure that we didn't present a plan that we couldn't afford to build.
OK, so we'll have a smaller CBD by the looks of the plans and a lower CBD because of the height restrictions. How did you reach the decision that no building would be over 7 stories? There has been some criticism this morning of that.
And there will be. I mean, that's an area that we've got to debate, and we need to talk about it because it is a major shift. Look, what our community told us through that 106,000 idea submission that we got was incredibly powerful. And they said to us, we want a safe city, a sustainable city, a green city, a low-rise, high-tech city, and a city that is a great place for people, a green city. And part of the work was, well, can you make low-rise work? And we think we can, and it's not just our idea, it's not something we just dreamed up. This is the result of a lot of work, talking to many, many different stakeholders, and there is, and there should be, a discussion around, well, what is that maximum height? Have we got it right? Is it too high, too low? What do we need to do? That's the next part of the discussion. We're really open to that, and I think we can show our decision-making process and how we got to the 7-story bit. But yes, we believe it is a very economical opportunity and it will work.
So if the CBD is going to be smaller and lower, where do some of those businesses that were in the CBD before go? Are you sort of expecting little pocket CBDs, if you like, to pop up around the city?
No, what we've got is we've taken certainly a smaller central area and said that's the real core of the city. That's around about a 7-story area. But if you look at what we had before the earthquake, you would see a 20-story building, then you might see a 2-story or a 1-story building and a vacant lot. We've put a minimum height in there as well, and we said the minimum height should be 3 stories. The maximum we're suggesting would be around 7 stories. When you do the math, when you work out the floor areas available, it's actually greater than we had before the earthquake because of that up and down sort of shape of the city at that time. So this is a more consistent shape. Then it steps down to a fringe around that. Again, an area still designed for commerce, for business, for larger format stores. And then it steps out again to another lower area, maximum around about 4 stories, out to the edge of the 4 avenues area. Currently, a lot of that is residential, low-rise, and that won't change. Other parts of it are low-rise, relatively low-rent commercial areas with lots of open space. And we want people to come and live in those areas in mixed-use communities. We're hoping, for example, to connect it into the university and make that a place where we get the young, creative people that drive cities back into the heart of Christchurch.
All right, Mayor Bob Parker, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning.
You're welcome.